kit off. That's what my fish room actually sounds like. It doesn't sound harmonious in the slightest. So what's everyone up to? I need to record though. There's no one in the chat at the moment. Obviously because of my work hours, I can't schedule a live, so I just kind of go live when I can. When I get a minute. So my Wallstad tank. This is my Wallstad tank. I'm enjoying this tank, but there's bits of this tank that I'm not enjoying. Thank you for the like. I don't know who it was. It says there's no one in chat. What? Hi Rai. Hello mate. Hope you're good. Working but listening in the background. Cool. That's what this is all about. I find people really appreciate the ability to chill out and listen to fish while they're working or doing water changes, stuff like that. So I find that's a unique part of these type of lives. So I'm thinking of building on that, maybe doing maintenance or stuff while I'm on, so I can chat away. But the thing is, I'd have to sort it out so I can see the live chat. That's it, innit? I need to sort a way of being able to like keep an eye on the chat while I'm doing stuff, and then I can crack on working with stuff while I'm doing it myself. But just got my Wallstad on camera. Bit of a conundrum for me talking about Wallstad, because every time I post a video on Wallstad stuff, I get loads of people rock up telling me I don't know what I'm talking about. Even though I'm talking straight from the textbook, I've read the 2 editions of the textbook, I've read a lot of the scientific journals that are referenced in it. I understand what an ANOVA is and a regression, so I understand all the science. But still, you know, but it's one of them things for me that I think to myself, well, it brings that much traffic to the channel, and it's a big part of my hobby, like planted tanks. I've run low-tech tanks, high-tech tanks, I've done tom bars, estimated index, dosing type of stuff. Like, I've done every type of tank there is, and the tanks just suit my lifestyle, because I enjoy heavy root feeding plants, and obviously I talk about it all the time. I love dwarf lilies, I love crinums, love Amazon swords, all that sort of stuff. So these fit naturally in with the Wallstad method, don't they? Because you've got the roots down in the dirt, pulling the nutrients out of the soil. So, but then, as I say, I get a lot of yeah, the plants. Like, I released a video, like, I think it was about 9 months ago maybe, saying like, just try a low-tech tank, because you've got control of everything with a low-tech tank. You've got control of fertilisation, the substrate, you can maintain them easier, you can dial the lighting in, like every part of it's like easier to run. Like, once you start dirting the tank, you're pretty much confined to, like, the bacteria is producing the ferts and the CO2 in the tank. So you kind of, in my opinion, you need to have a grasp of how to control, like, if something goes too high, what's going to happen to the tank. And you know, you need to learn methods of dealing with these things, because you know, plants are, it's all about your light and your CO2 have to be dialed in together. Tom Barr says, and obviously he's the doctor, the godfather of fertilisation, and he says it doesn't matter how much nutrients are in your water column if your light and CO2 are dialed in together. So that's, like, I always, Yeah, because the thing is what I notice with all these data tank gurus, if you like, is they don't understand the basics of plants, but then they're promising you that if you do it, they don't realise that I don't know, an Amazon sword, say an Amazon sword and LOD Dense have got totally different growth habits, um, totally different nutrient requirements. So you can't expect them. There's different types of planted tanks that you can set up to cater for different types of plants. So you can't expect like a like an Amazon sword to appreciate the same environment that a floating plant would, because one of them's a heavy root feeder and one of them's it's evolved to float and get its CO2 from the atmosphere, whereas the likes of LOD denser can use your carbon in your KH as a carbon source if the carbon's low in the water column. Like if you're not dosing CO2 and all CO2 is exhausted, it'll switch over. But it's one of them methods that it requires the plant to use a lot of energy to create this stuff. So in the long run, it's not beneficial for the plant to constantly do this, because the energy it's creating, it's using to create more energy. So obviously we want our plants to run in an energy efficient manner. Like, if you've got to walk 20 miles to buy a salad, you're gonna feel you're gonna end up pretty starved, aren't you, pretty soon. So but I do think like textbook low tech tanks are definitely the place to start out. Like epiphytes as well. Like epiphytes are really slow growers, and people set tanks up that are and then they smash it with light. But epiphytes they're not that hungry for nutrients. So, but it's a whole. I could talk for hours about plants, like, and I wouldn't even consider myself a. I know a lot of people say I'm a planted tank guy, but compared to the likes of Ron from Garage Aquatics, either my knowledge complements his or he knows a lot more, because everything he says I'm like, wow. But I always use plants as like natural filtration. I've never really been one of these big aquascaping things where everything comes second to the scape and the plants. Like for me, fish come first. I'm a fish keeper. I appreciate plants based on what they do for fish. That's where they get my respect from. They're just like, to me, they're an attractive filtration. But as I say, I enjoy heavy root feed. I like big fish and I like big plants. So kind of ties in perfectly for me. But this tank, if I'm honest, this tank I'm like considering resetting. Like it's starting to play on my mind that there's a few things in it that I don't enjoy, and I'm starting to debate whether starting again with it is because, for example, the valve area is all over the place, and I don't really want it all over the place. I wanted to try and confine it to the back, but I've never had valve do so well as this stuff I've bought. It does well in every single one of the tanks. I had Val in a Frontosa tank, maybe 2018, and its growth pattern was more like a crenum. It just sat there, and it just put more and more leaves out, and it just got like denser and denser, and it just had this like circle of Val that got thicker and thicker. It didn't really expand out, but this Val that I've got now, it's the same Val in 3 tanks. And its runners shoot right across the tank. They've gone from, in the space of, I don't know how many, maybe 6 months it is, it's gone from the back of the tank to the front. So it's grown like 6 inches, and it's come from the back to the front, and it's turning and coming along the front of the tank, and it's coming from every angle. So if I left it for another 6 months, there'd be nothing left of the tank apart from valve, which isn't necessarily what I want. Obviously I've got fish farms in the house. I haven't seen fish farm on my life for quite a while actually. Doesn't it keep posting a message about Sept Aquatics. But I've got some bigger Pongigetans in the back corner here, and then I've got a Crenum Cyanum the back there, and then obviously I hate the glow on this tank and these lights, but centre stage just off to the side of centre because I don't like nothing right in the middle of my tank. I've got Crenum Calamastratum, and the leaf is getting to be about 2 foot long on that leaf. But this side I've got my dwarf lilies, and I think, excuse me, I think I'd like to take these Waponga red lasers out. I bought them because I wanted a few. Have you ever done that in a hobby where you're like, I want something to breed, and then so like I can't remember it was. The Bosmoni was the first thing I bought. They were in the shop and I bought them, and they're not the best Bosmoni. Well, they've coloured up really nice, but there only seems to be 1 or 2 males, so I don't know. I'll probably have to get a generation, and obviously it takes a year to grow rainbows from fry to adults to breeding size, so I don't know. It gave me a chance to remove the Waponga, and this is one of the things I've been thinking about. What do I do with them if I do remove them, because I haven't got any more tank space. And so I was looking for the rainbows and got offered these. Hello, little wiggle monster. So I don't know whether to, like, I want to remove them so I can breed the Bosmoni, but I haven't got any tank space anywhere else for the Waponga, so I don't know. But I also, at the same time, I kind of got offered the Waponga and the Goida Rivers. Well, the Goida Rivers are like stunning, so if I could only keep one out of the 3, I'd keep the Goida Rivers. Whenever I show anyone with fry, they're still tiny and they're bright red already, and people are like, wow. So for me, keeping them would be my first priority, but I definitely want to breed these Bosmoni. But it depends. I've got some. I've got a thing going on where I might end up kind of with a big fish room between me and some friends, so, and a lot of tank space. I mean, my limiting factor at the moment is tank space. If I had a bigger building, I could do what I wanted, but I don't have that at the moment, so. But if we do end up with, there's a lot of space. I think it's like, anyone's seen Keeping Fish Simple, it looks roughly about the same size as his garage used to work out of, and there'd be like 4 of us all with breeding projects and stuff in there. So I'm thinking of maybe, if it does get to go ahead, I was thinking of maybe moving a few of my things I'm growing out and stuff, so it'd free up more space here to do. Because hello, Mr. G. Let's get yours. I just feel self-conscious showing that. So did anyone see the aquatic auction on, I believe it was Friday or maybe Saturday? I won a load of Bucephalandra. I'm going to get in here. I thought they'd look epic in here. Let's turn the lights up on this. Got quite a bit of movement in this at the moment, but let's do a water change. Yeah, so I bought 3 boosters. There was them rear boosters, and I'd like to bought like a bit of them all, but I don't know, like, thought the price of them, if I was only buying one, like if it was only after one, I'd have bought the one I was after for like 30 quid, but don't know much about plants. Well, this is the thing, I think, the problem is I think the people banging on YouTube these days about plants don't necessarily know much about plants. I find I watch a lot of these dated tank gurus, if you like, and I've never heard them mention much about plant physiology or fertilisation and the stuff they do say about fertilisation. Well, it's not even me thinking, I know it's wrong. You only have to look at like Tom Barr's EI method, and like what they're saying is blatantly wrong. So it's not even an opinion of mine, it's just scientific fact. Well, people appreciate my planted tank content. I think the problem is I don't really get, unless I talk about Wallstad stuff, don't really get many views from talking about plants. And as I say, there's the likes of Ron from Garage Aquatics who knows loads. So well, I did I think it was last winter, I did do like a few textbook low-tech planted tank videos, and they didn't seem to do that well. But then everything last winter I put out on the Wallstad method, I seemed to get like 1,500 views overnight, and then like 1,500 views the next day on most of the videos. So yeah, with solar orange juice, if I'm honest, I really like Rotala. It's a bit of a pain for my maintenance style of like stem plants. They need someone who's pretty much glued to the tank, who can keep on top of them and prune them regularly. Otherwise, and in my opinion, they need to be in a high-tech tank with plenty of CO2 to look the best stem plants. Well, when I had orange juice in my last tank, and what I found is it really struggled until I ramped the lights up and put CO2 on the tank and started dosing with it, and it exploded with growth. But I think stems in general, I think you need CO2 with them to make them look the best. So I think the best place to start with plants really is like the old school stuff, like the swords. I know there's a guy, and I'd love to show people his tank. He's just like, he's got a tank with he's got discus, angels, plecos, just like the old textbook, old school planted tank fish. And he's just got a big piece of wood with a load of nubius on it, and then behind that he's got a load of terracotta plant pots with a bit of type of pond soil or organic potting soil, and just a bit of gravel, and then he's just planted the likes of Amazon swords in them and stuff. So over the top of all this driftwood with your likes of clover fern, anubias, and type of epiphytes, he's just got these big Amazon swords, and the tank looks amazing. And then he's got a couple of like old school stem plants, like the likes of your Elodea, hormone and stuff. It looks a cool tank, and I'd love to show it off, but he's a very private person, so I think that's the problem with the hobby, is you want to show everyone's hobby off. You learn off these people over the years, and you're like, oh, that's a great idea. And then when you're like, can I show your setup off? They're like, no. There's also a couple of breeders who are like, they're absolutely amazing breeders, but getting to show their stuff off is quite hard, to be honest. So, but I know one guy he's breeding like Corys, Plecos, Angels, Discus. What else is he breeding? I think he's got some rainbows. see, that's the thing, mate. Like I get where you're coming from, like, but I got to the point now where I'm not fussed. Like, this tank isn't looking great at the moment, but I know it's well within my ability to correct it. I'm choosing to just kind of, like, I'll do a water change on it on Wednesday. Then it's been a week. I don't mind people criticising me now because I'm at a point where I know how to correct it, and it's not a big issue. Like, the Wallstad tank I've got in the living room, like, it's absolutely stop. I only show one happens this, but really it's fairly friendly on there. Yeah. The thing is though is, like, sorry about that noise, just sorting some de-insulation up. What I find that the people who criticise are precisely the people who were there 6 months ago. They've only just started in the hobby relatively, and then they've had the first, like, I don't know, for a metaphor, imagine they're learning music. So, like, they've had the first few piano lessons, so they can play the first few chords of something, or they can, play a few basic songs. So then they criticise everyone who can't play music. Whereas the likes of me, who's been doing it 30 years, there isn't much difference between them and a novice to me. And then when they come at me criticising me, I'm like, oh, whatever, mate. Like, keeping fish is a process. Like, you don't set up a tank and it always stays perfect. Like I was saying, my Wallstad tank in the living room didn't put floating plants on. I was running the lights too high, the nutrient levels were too high, and I kept saying this. And I kept saying it's going to come back and bite me, and sure enough, like, there's a massive algae bloom in there now. Like, there's all over the top half the tank. But I don't care, because I want, like, don't grow the plants and the plants don't get healthy, or I do get the plant, and I was pushing my luck, and I knew it was, said it in all my videos, and it like, I knew eventually it'd come back to bite me, and it did. But I know I've got the experience to deal with it, and I know it's going to be a long slog getting the algae out of the tank. But what do we do? In my mind's eye, I wanted to get the tank grown in, and I did it as fast as I could, and I knew what the downside of it to be was, and I told everyone in my videos that that's what was going to happen, and it did. And if I'm honest, I am quite embarrassed because people go, oh, it is like, so you see aquascapers, and this is my biggest bugbear with the hobby. You get these aquascapers and they show you how to set up this phenomenal tank, but the thing is, they're only setting that tank up to take one photograph. These fish in this tank right now, the multis are in here to breed, so I've got something to do short term, but the whole point of this tank, nothing is going to cool in this tank, in my opinion, for 3 years. Like these Frontosa, I've got to be on top of my care of these fish for 3 years before they're even anywhere near where I want them to be. And to me, that's what the hobby's all about. I've got to keep on top of these fish for 3 to 5 years to make sure everything, they're happy, they're getting everything they need for 3 to 5 years before they even start breeding, which is my goal. The hobby to me, like, I don't even consider a tank a fish tank, like an aquarium that's like mature until it hits 2 years. I've had so many things go wrong with the tank within the first 18 months. You're virtually guaranteed to get some sort of algae outbreak in most tanks in the first, like, 18 months. Like, I've got, looks like blackbeard or something going on here, but it seems to come out the tank easy, this. So I'm like, well, if the tank's not balanced and this algae that's easy to grow is growing, easy to remove is growing, then, like, let it grow. Rather than pull it and then something else gets a hold of your tank that's harder to get rid of. It's like, it's fish keeping's a process, and, like, there's no end destination. Do you know what, like, I think I'm building my YouTube channel as well to reflect how I keep fish. It's like, I was banging on about getting to 1k, but to me that was the difference between, like, trying to be a creator and, like, right, okay, you've got an established audience. If you hit this number, you can't ever have imposter syndrome. You've made it now. you've got an established channel. I know it's only small and I've got a lot of things I want to do better and stuff, but I feel like now's the start of my proper journey. But I feel like my channel reflects my tanks. I'm not in any rush to do anything anymore. Like, it'll happen when it happens, kind of thing. It's a process. I don't think I'll ever be finished on YouTube. I just want to share my journey with people, and then, you know, if people want to learn from me, that's what I'm here for. And obviously I'm going to learn from other people. I watch a lot of other content creators, so the whole thing's a process and we all learn off each other. I always say, I bet you there's someone somewhere out there who set up the first fish tank and something went wrong and they learned to correct it, and they learned something that I still haven't learned after 30 years. It doesn't matter how long you've been in the hobby, different people are always learning different things. But you've got to be open to the learning process of it. You can't just rock up and think you know everything, because then you'll never learn and you'll always be making the same mistakes and you'll never progress. But I'd say this tank for me is like it's a long-term goal. It's getting these frontosa to be like at least 6 inches, and then obviously it looks like it's quite male heavy, this group. I'm going to keep an eye on them as they grow, and what I might do is just narrow it down. So I've got 2 males, so I've got an alpha and a subdominant male, and then a few females. So my goal is to breed them. Like, I would like to get them in a slightly bigger tank eventually as well. Like, this is 5 foot by 18. Excuse me. Which I think I could get away with it with my feeding and maintenance schedule, but I want to do some breeding with like a lot of different species, but I also want display tanks, and I want this to be like a display tank with breeding going on, and then obviously I've got my Wallstad tank, which I'd like to have that so I could just pop a spawning mop in every now and again, throw that in a grow tank and grow some baby rainbows. But as I say, they take 12 months to get to maturity, so but I found since I moved them into the house, into the 180 litre Rio, and every time I walk past the tank I throw a little bit of food in, just like a little pinch, and obviously it gets massive water changes, and the plant should be taking most of the nutrients out of the water anyway, so I feel like they've had a big growth spurt. Some of them are maybe an inch or 2 now, and some of them are twice the size of the others. But the thing is, I want to keep the big ones, but I want to get shut of the little ones to the shops, but I don't feel like the little ones are big enough that the shops have wanted me yet, so it's kind of that conundrum what you do. Because I feel like the big ones, if I kept like maybe half a dozen up to 10 of the big ones and just kept them in that tank, I feel like they'd have more of a growth spurt and they'd get even bigger. But I do. Oh, morning, Craig. Well, it's evening or night where you are. Are you okay, mate? I haven't seen. I haven't been on. I haven't been on. Have I gone live for it? Been at work for a few days and stuff. So I enjoyed your stream the other day. Good morning. I enjoyed your stream the other day when we had the dog. It's good to see you, mate. I was enjoying yours stream the other day. It's nice to catch up, because like when I get up in the morning I think you've just gone off a lot of the time. Or I love the way Rob seems to stay up into the night and he gets to catch up with everyone. He catches up with the likes of you and Jeff and stuff, and I get quite envious of that sometimes, because I'm in bed for work and it's It seems to be like when everything happens. In the UK, once you get to about 8 o'clock UK time, then like America's start getting active on YouTube, and then after that, like Oz, like through the night. So I feel like most of the day it's quite dead. Like the afternoon in the UK, YouTube seems to be like quiet. So I'd love to be in a situation like Rob where he can stay up through the night and catch up with everyone. That'd be awesome. Man. Do you know what? I haven't. Talking about Rob, I haven't had a notification for his lives. Like he was live yesterday evening, and I just caught it just as he was saying "Sral" to everyone or goodbye, and I was gutted because I'm usually the first on his live, aren't I? So I've just changed my routine. Wow, how come? Is it around work or something? Or I'm hoping in the next like month or so maybe. I'm hoping I can commit a lot more time to YouTube. Bell works daily. Ah, right, okay. That makes sense. And my missus, before we had the little fella, when I was working nights, so she kind of adjusted her routine around me, her days. Otherwise we'd never see each other, we'd be like ships passing in the night. He's working days and nights, she was. It's hard, isn't it? I'm sure this is like the first generation we've ever had where everyone seems to work shift work. That's cool. I've never had a job where I've been home at tea time. Everyone seems to talk about working 9 till 5, and I've never been able to get a job like that in my life. I'd love that, to get home at tea time and have the weekends to myself, but I always seem to end up in careers where it's like 12-hour shifts and you work weekends. And if I'm honest, I feel like my ability to create content suffers because of my unsociable hours, as they call it. I found YouTube rewards you for being like regular and stuff. So like, I think was it last week? Not last week, the week before. I was off and I was going live quite regularly to catch up with everyone, and I just found YouTube was pushing the live to a wider and wider audience, and it was getting me a ton of watch time, it was getting me loads of subs and stuff, and now I haven't been able to do it. It seems to have died off a bit, but you know, it's what it is. It's a YouTube's a long-term process, isn't it? It's not. Nothing's going to happen overnight on YouTube, I don't think. My local shop's got some. Let's zoom in a bit. Show me fishies off. There's that algae there. My thought process on this algae is it's pulling out the excess nutrients in the tank, and it's easy to remove. So if it's easy to remove, let it grow and pull out these excess nutrients while the tank balances. Otherwise, you know, something more stubborn could get old. And all I've been eating last week's pizza. I got burger sauce from the shop, and it tastes just like McDonald's. Do you? It's funny you should say that, Craig, because like I tend to find I kind of fast through the day, and then eat the opposite of how normally people eat. Like I'll have my tea at tea time, and then I'll kind of have lunch. What people would have for lunch at noon, I have at like midnight, and then I'll have like a cereal in the early hours of the morning and still up. So I seem to have my meals backwards. So it makes sense to me that, because like I usually eat late at night rather than in the morning. But there was, I said there was Bishardi and Lalupi, or Lalupi, however you want to pronounce it, in the shop the other day. And I was thinking both of them would be great for this tank, but then I kind of want to, I feel like the multis are stressing the front hose out enough at the moment, so I don't know, like I feel like I should, adding more insult to injuries, not achieving what I want to achieve. Look at this. I don't know whether to show you, but there's a snail. Can you see the snail? One of the feet's on the screwdriver and the frozen food. There's a snail just there, and it's terrorising the shellies. But there could be eggs in one of the shells that the snail's after. I found as soon as my angels lay eggs, snails will come out of nowhere and head for the spawning. What's it called? I don't even know where it's gone. The ceramic, the spawning. Oh, what's the word for it? I can't think of it. You know what I mean? I can't think of the word of it. I've got it. This thing. I can never remember the word for it. Cone. That's it. Looks like a traffic cone. But I found when my angels laid on that, snails would come out of nowhere and head for it. Part of me wants to shut all my tanks down to get rid of my snails. I think, I'd say I've got it. That is a breeding cone, yeah. You know, the word goes out your head, you know exactly what it is, but you can't think of the name of it. I mean, it is pretty self-explanatory because it looks like a traffic cone, doesn't it? But part of me is tempted to shut my tanks down to get rid of the likes of the snails. Not get rid of my fish, I'll just move the fish somewhere else, but because if anything seems to be doing well in anything, it's the snails. This tank doesn't seem to suffer too badly from snails, but obviously my planted tank, my Wallstad style planted tank down the bottom there. Do you know, since I put the loaches in, if I'm honest, actually, I haven't seen any juvenile snails, I haven't seen any little snails, just the adults. And I haven't seen any bladder snails anymore, just seems to be the ram's horns. So maybe that would be, excuse me, quite easy to deal with actually. But there is a couple of loaches in there and some assassin snails, and either they're not eating them or they're not keeping up, but maybe they're just eating the babies. Maybe what I'll do when I'm feeding me Plecos some courgette or cucumber, maybe I'll put a bit in the planted tank and see if I can catch some of the snails and start getting them out of the tank. Because they're not doing me the world of good, I don't think. Like the likes of the lilies, I think the snails rip the lily leaves to bits, and the leaves on the lilies seem pretty healthy, so I was always under the impression that snails leave healthy plants alone, but someone I can't remember told me bladder snails will eat healthy leaves on lilies. And I know people tell me that Plecos won't touch Amazon swords, but I've got Amazon swords in one of my tanks and it was growing rapidly. It like quadrupled in size in 3 months. It was really healthy. Like the leaves were like rock hard. They were doing that well. It was like a lettuce, the leaves were, and then I put the Plecos in there and within a week like loads of the leaves went bald. But it was from the inside out. It wasn't like, it didn't look like a nutrient deficiency. The leaves looked stripped from the middle vein outwards. And I reckon that was the Plecos rasping on it. Like they might not necessarily be eating the leaf, but the rasping on it and taking, like slowly shaving layers off it. In my mind's eye, you don't go from a plant that's flying, like quadrupling in size, to having bald leaves, like stripped leaves, all of a sudden within a couple of weeks. Not if you haven't dramatically changed stuff. But even if the Plecos are doing that, it doesn't really fuss me that much because I've got tons of baby. Yeah, see, I've been told that they don't, but from what I've experienced, that like I'd argue they do. Like blatantly damage. It's not a nutrient deficiency. The only thing that's changed in the tank is me adding the peppermints to it. So, and I see the peppermints they're always on the leaf, so rasping away. So people can tell me they don't, but I'll argue they do. But I don't mind, actually, if I'm honest. I don't mind them doing it, because if it's getting them closer to making baby peppermints, then that'll do me. I'd sacrifice an Amazon sword for a ton of baby peppermint bristlenose. So. They call them chocolates, don't they? Like the common bristlenose. They're frustrating me at the moment. I've got 3 males in the tank. One of the males just doesn't seem interested at all, and I've got a female. Hi Lewis, good morning. You okay, mate? Is it still morning? Yes. Yeah, so I've got one male common that's just kind of placid, but female, it's kind of gone gravid. She's gone really plump. She's still quite small. And I've got 2 big males. And all they seem to do is terrorise each other. They just swim from one end of the tank to the other and just have murder with each other. Yes, if you don't mind, please consider hitting the like button. A lemur shovel nose. They're pretty big fish, aren't they? Thinking of the right fish. I'm looking at getting more into the breeding side of things. A foot. So they'll get the same size, roughly about the same size as these Francosa, then these get to, well, I reckon the males get to about 35 centimetres and the females get to about 25. And that's my goal, to get them grown out. That one at the back looks stunning. I don't know whether I hate the way it goes so pixelated. One day I'll get a great camera and we'll have great footage. It looks really coloured up and stuff. And then there's the other one down the back, if I can get him. There he is at the farm. There, you just see his head. He's really dark. I think that looks really cool. Yeah, I see a lot of people do like breeding fish videos, and I always think to myself, just buy Francosa and grow them out. Like you can buy baby Francosa for some shops selling for like as low as £7. You can buy a £7 fish that in 3 years you could turn into £150 fish. Like, you know, when I see some of the grow out tanks my mates have got, and the growing stuff out that they're selling for buttons, and the amount of time and effort they're putting into growing them out, I think you... Good morning, Magnus. How are you? Magnus, when are you going to put some more bonsai content out? I need to see some pruning. Actually, we're just starting to get into the right time of year for some pruning videos and wiring videos, aren't we? I love watching it when everyone's trees start shutting down. They start the process of pruning everything. I love repotting season as well. Just before when the buds start swelling, everyone starts repotting the trees. I love that time of year. Although in reality it's a bit of a bugger, isn't it? Because it's everyone's out in the cold repotting. It's not a pleasant experience. Oh, awesome! I can't wait. So, I love watching I love once the leaves are gone and everyone starts wiring the trees and pruning them, and then I love the repotting videos. Wow. I need to start watching everyone's long form content. I've been watching, in fact, if I'm honest, I've been watching everyone's lives, and then I've mostly been watching Pleco breeding content at the moment, like bristlenose Pleco breeding content, and there's a guy I've just found that I didn't even know he existed, and he's got quite a big channel, but he's just got like a fish room full of Plecos, and he's got a ton of different bristlenose. I think he's got 236 L33, he's got 397, the 134s, is it? The leopard frogs, I think it is. He's got a few others as well, snowball Plecos, and I think to myself, like, I'd love to do that. I'd love to set up a load of tanks and just have breeding colonies of them. I'm not even that fussed about breeding them, to be honest. Just keeping them, collecting them. I suppose I pick poor choice of words. I would like to breed them, but my goal wouldn't be to breed them to sell them. I think I'd find myself hard pushed to let them go, to be honest. Unless it's like bristlenose, where they have like massive spawns and you can't house them all. My friend's got, and you wouldn't even know the guy exists really. He's not on any social media or nothing. He's got a breeding colony of zebra Plecos, and he'll never, like the L46s, and he never lets his babies go. And people wouldn't know these Plecos exist apart from the fellow who sold in them. He's probably got a few quid's worth of Plecos, like. I think I'm coming down with something. My throat's very raspy today. So did anyone check out the auction then? I won a few boosts, didn't I? And it's something I've been meaning to get onto for a while now, keeping boosts I've got. If I can jiggle this round. Got one there, and I've got another one there. I can't remember what they are. I think one's Kedagang. I need to learn boosts. But I just got them, thought I'll have a try, and if they do well, I'll get some more. And they seem to be doing alright. They're putting out new leaves and they're extending, so I've just left them in the pot, to be honest. Everyone tell me you can't do that, they'll die, but I've been in there 6-12 months now, and they're epiphytes, so if they're growing away from the pot, then that tells me that it's working, at least for now. But I feel confident enough to try a few more now. And, I've got the Nubius bonsai there, and then like these, I'm just letting these ones. I think one of them's gold coin, one of them's just a Nubius, but I don't see any gold leaves. When I first got the Nubius, it did have a gold leaf, but I haven't seen any more. In fact, that leaf there, oh, can you see that? Like, I've got options there, so you won't have admin options, will you, on you? That one looks quite variegated. I'm guessing that's a nutrient deficiency, as opposed to anything exciting. But the tank has just been set up, so everything's still balancing. The valve in this tank's doing, like I was saying before, the valve I've got seems to do well in everything, so it's really that big. And it's gone behind that rock there. I put that in, and that one seems to have exploded with growth, and it's creeping. I think you can just see the leaves there actually. Let me just check it is. I don't want to tell people things that aren't true. Yeah, it is, yeah, that's it. Actually, them leaves don't even look like valve. Valves usually looks more like satch, the leaves. By the way, like, valve up close looks like it's got like the leaves look cracked, almost. It looks like someone's cracked the leaves, and then satch usually has like a little lighter vein down the middle of the leaves, and that's what that looks like. But anyway, obviously it's too big to be satch, so. But it just doesn't look. Maybe it's just because it's new cuttings right now. But as I say, I'm thinking of pulling my Wallstad tank apart to pull the valve out. To be honest, it's not doing great. This let's get you down here, show you. But you can see, like, there's an absolute ton. Right the way round the back, just the giant forest of valve, and I'd rather just plant some big plants like this crinum, these dwarf lilies here. I'd rather just plant stuff like that, and then let the sads go through everything. And then maybe I've got crinum tyanum at the back there. Excuse me, you can just see it. And then I've got a few Amazon swords. I've got the ocelot at the back, and then the rubra in front of that. So I feel like I could do with giving these plants a bit more space and taking. If I took the valve out, it'd give me a lot more room to move these things around. So, and then I could just let the sarge. You can see the sarge I planted up to here, and it's grown right along. It's grown right along the front, and then it's grown right the way through the back there. And I think I just like the valve, the sarge just to cover the bottom. I had crypts all down here. We had the heat wave, and they've all melted, but the piece of I can't remember the name of it. It's like a rhizome type thing in the soil. They're still all in there, so I'm expecting them to pop back up one day. But if they're just gonna keep melting, what's the point? What I did get That's another reason why I was thinking of resetting the tank, is it gave me the opportunity to get all them bits of crypts out and get them going again. Because I did that with my last tank. I took all the little nodules of crypt, planted them, and they all started growing again. And there's some nice crypts in that soil. This tank's pretty alkaline. The pH is quite high pH, so I think if I lowered it, I feel like I think you'd see a bit more movement from them, but I want it high because the plants appreciate it, apart from the crypt. So I think I'd rather have sarge growing. The duckweed, I've got this net and I literally run around, catch all the duckweed and dump it in my goldfish tank. Within a day it's all gone, so it's free food for the goldfish. I think the goldfish seem to do better with a lot of stuff in the diet like that. When you first set up a tank like this, when you use dirt as the soil, as the as the substrate, I think you need to get it planted heavily from the start. And now I think to myself, yeah, it's great planting it heavily at the start, but everything's got to grow in. And then as soon as everything starts growing in, it looks packed, and then it's still going to keep growing, isn't it, for however long you keep the tank set up. So part of me thinks I'd rather work through planting less plants and letting it fill in properly and look a bit nicer. I just feel like everything's over. But even though I've set up multiple tanks like this, there's tons of oil in here. It's all over the place. So yeah, even though I've set up multiple of these tanks before, like I've still learned a lot from this tank. Every tank does something differently that the last one doesn't. This tank seems to appreciate less flow than others do. The one in the living room's got much more flow. It seems to appreciate, like the plants do better with more flow in that tank. I mean, they're similar plants. So. Well, what would you guys breed if you had the Wapongas and the Bosmoni? What would you breed? Curious to know. Because obviously them Waponga red laser, I think they're a bit rarer in the hobby. But at the same time, they just, I would like my own colony of Bosmoni as well. So that must be the male there. This tank looks completely different on camera to what it looks like. I wonder if I take it off the stand. So what I find is a lot. It rebalances once it's for cope with that. you see the way you can see right the way through to the back. That's Bacopa, and as you can see, it's all stripped. That's why I don't like stems. And then I've got pennywort there. A few holes in it. But part of me, I'd love to take this room apart and start again. Get the tanks emptied, put the fish, store them somewhere, and like I'd like to set this tank up differently, slightly. I'd like to sort the electrics out in this room. Also, I find heating this room's a bit of a pain. It's the temperatures swing during the day and night, and I think it's the sun more than anything. I think it gets midday sun, which is up like a degree or two during the day. Right guys, I think I'll it's been an hour. I think I'll call it quits there, and then I'll probably pop back on later in the week. So thanks for joining me, and I'll catch up with you all later in the week. Take care guys, don't forget to get your sleeves wet. See you soon.